as a woman of color, I was so hopeful that a mixed-race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president.
Why didn't she say, as a woman who is on a mainstream media platform, I'm surprised that the public is no longer listening to me? That would have been a more interesting perspective, I think, and more unique.
I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment in this country.
Well, I think it...
Oh, here we go. Here we go. And they did warn us at the event with Patrick Bet-David that they're going to try to make this a race thing. Be prepared for it. Hey guys, it's Angela, and in this video, we're going to be reacting to members of The View losing their minds on live television after Donald Trump won the election. Great job. Thank you to everybody who voted. Please make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and let's begin with this disaster that happens after Donald Trump speaks.
We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before.
Beautiful. I love how consistent he is with his message.
God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
So, how you feel?
I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead.
My takeaway is that the system works. We live in a democracy. People spoke. This is what people wanted. I vehemently disagree with the decision that Americans made. But I feel very, very hopeful that we have a democratic system in this country. We should value it. We should love it. We should protest if the situation arises that we need to protest, which I'm sure it will. And I've been through this before with Nixon. It's been very difficult. But boy, oh boy, do we have a country if we can keep it.
Yeah.
Well, echoing the sentiments, Joy, one of the first thing I wanted to say for anyone that needs an example of when the person you voted for does not win, you do not say the system must be broken or that it was rigged. You say it is what it is, and you show up anyway.
Except when it is.
But we need to bring down the temperature, the name calling, the demonizing, let the other side, you know, if they want to do that, they can do it. But I think it is a moment to listen to the voters. And this, I have to say, I've always thought he could win. I thought in the final stretch she might eke it out. I didn't expect it to be this resounding, and I think there are some lessons from it.
I think if you look at the New York Times this morning, the headline was "America makes a perilous choice." I think that in 2016, we didn't know what we would get from a Trump administration, but we know now. And
is she talking about a safer country, lower gas prices, lower inflation?
We know now that he will have almost unfettered power. And so I worry, not about myself, actually. I don't worry about my station in life. I worry about the working class. I worry about my mother, a retired teacher. I worry about our elderly and their Social Security and their Medicare. I worry about my children's future, especially my daughter, who now has less rights than I have. And I remember my father telling me many, many years ago that I was the first person in his family.
What rights? What rights does your daughter not have?
To enjoy full civil rights. And now I have less civil rights than I had when he told me that. So again, I'm profoundly disturbed that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution did not prevent someone who participated in an insurrection from becoming president of the United States. I think that going forward, the convicted felon box on employment applications better be taken off, because if you can be the president of the United States, then you should not be prevented from employment in this country, because I remember applying for my jobs as a federal prosecutor, and there was a box for convicted felons.
Well,
and so that box better be taken.
Yeah, and they shot him too. So they've done many things to try to prevent him from becoming president, and guess what? He did. And we are so happy for that. And whether you are so worried about it or not, that's your own problem. If you're so worried about these rights that you claim to have lost, then stop worrying about it, and then you don't have any problems.
And I think our healthcare system is now at risk. I think
No fluoride for anyone.
Yeah, economists have made clear that he's going to increase the debt by $7.75 trillion. I'm worried about mass deportation and
I'm sorry, but I'll trust the guy who was able to build a billion-dollar empire on his own. I'll trust his opinion over yours any day.
camps, and I'm also worried about Elon Musk warning Americans to prepare for temporary hardship. I'm surprised at the result, but I'm not surprised. As a woman of color, I was so hopeful that a mixed-race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president.
Why didn't she say, as a woman who is on a mainstream media platform, I'm surprised that the public is no longer listening to me? That would have been a more interesting perspective, I think, and more unique.
Of this country. And I think that it had nothing to do with policy. I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment in this country.
Well, I think it.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. And they did warn us at the event with Patrick Bet-David that they're going to try to make this a race thing. Be prepared for it. And who cares? Who cares that you want to continue to pull these kinds of cards instead of just recognizing that it's time to come together as a nation, no matter what race you are, instead of always having to differentiate and, as if Kamala Harris should have been president just because she was a DEI hire. What?
I think it has to do with a lot of things, that being one of them. I'm obviously very disappointed. I'm very sad. I was at the Kamala Harris headquarters yesterday in Washington, and it was a very sad scene. The mood turned immediately, and I tell you, there's a quote I get a lot of inspiration from, and it's a quote that I read when I was reading about John F. Kennedy, and it says, "Whether I am on the winning or the losing side is not the point with me. It is being on the side where my sympathies lie that matters." And that to me brought me...
I prefer the quote, it's not who's right, it's what's right. Because even though you want to feel like your candidate was the best option, I'm sorry, but that's not what is right. That's not what is best for our country. And being a Latin person, why do you want to turn America into the country that your family, or perhaps you even, left? And in many cases, escaped, hid, risked your life. Why would you want to turn our government into a socialist Cuba or a communist Venezuela? How does that sound like a good plan? What are you so sad about? You're sad about having a safe border? Seriously? You're sad that it's going to take a little bit longer to come to the U.S. the legal way now? Is that what you're sad about? I'm so excited to hear what it is that she is so sad about and needing to learn how to cope with this traumatic experience.
I have no regrets.
Yep.
I worked hard as hell.
She has no regrets.
Elect the first Black Asian woman president. History slipped through our fingers again. I worked hard as hell for Donald Trump not to be president. But today, unlike Donald Trump and his followers, I acknowledge that he won. I hope for the best for our country, and I make a commitment to our LGBTQ, to our immigrants, to our elderly, to our young girls, to the women, that we will not stop fighting. We can be sad today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, fight, fight, fight. I wonder where you guys got that from.
Today we can be sad. Tomorrow we stand up and we continue. We have every right as Americans, because we love this country, because this is the most exceptional country in the world, we have the right and the duty to speak up and denounce abuses of power, to be vigilant. And so I invite all Americans.
But you are able to protest and continue to fight because Kamala Harris didn't get elected, because she wants to take away our freedom of speech. She wanted to be like Cuba, where we can't have social media, we can't have freedom of speech, we can't go against her policies, we can't speak out against them, or else it's misinformation. So you are allowed to speak up about this and fight, fight, fight because Donald Trump got elected. That was so close and way too close to being taken away from us. And we should never allow another DEI hire, somebody who didn't deserve to be a candidate, get that close to the presidency ever again.
We are recognizing they won.
Yeah.
Now,
And the only reason why you can recognize that we won because it was fair and square and there wasn't millions of votes coming out of the thin air. And it didn't take them until the next morning, late in the next morning, to figure out who the president was going to be. What happened? Where did all of those 20 million votes come from in 2020 for Joe Biden? There's reasons why the 2020 election was very questionable. Why are they acting like they have some type of moral superiority just because this election was obviously fair and square? Because it was literally too big to rig.
We said to people, vote. We didn't tell people who to vote for.
Right.
We just
Well, I
said
did.
go out. Huh? well, yes, but I did not
yeah, I did.
because I wanted to make sure people exercise that right. Too many people that I know died trying.
Exercise that right. This was the party that had every celebrity, the people with the most amount of followers, get on stage and cry and talk about inflation and this and that. And you want to talk about the Democrat Party not telling people who to vote for with Taylor Swift and The View specifically also being very forceful about voting for Kamala and just hateful if you were for Donald Trump.
Think about this.
Okay.
She did this in 2 months.
Yeah, I know.
She did this in 2 months.
Wow, she was able to lie and then steal Joe Biden's spot for the candidacy. Is that supposed to be inspirational? Are we supposed to look up to crooked people doing crooked things? Or should we look up to the man who never took anything from anybody? And the definition of success is one's ability to achieve the things that they want without infringing on the rights of other people. Who has done that better, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Because Kamala Harris, to get to where she is, she screwed over Joe Biden again and again, as well as the American people. Donald Trump has got to where he is by being an incredible businessman and salesperson and providing products and services. So I don't really see how Kamala Harris is like, wow, I can't believe she has done this. This is so amazing. In fact, I think that it's an embarrassment and women should be ashamed.
She did what she did. She was everywhere. She talked to everybody. And
She was everywhere except on Joe Rogan. The thing I don't understand is why are people acting so afraid of a Donald Trump presidency? He was already president and he did a phenomenal job. I can't wait till he gets back into office again. Please make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.